Hi guys, I'm Lottie with the Rise Collective. We out here today, and we're just interviewing these guys after a talk about play and the importance of it. I'm here with Jake as well, but it'd be really nice if you guys could introduce yourselves.
You've got a really soothing voice, by the way, Lottie. Yeah. Just get into. Actually, you are in it. But I'm Kojo. I'm founder of CSCB Chess Club, and by trade, I'm a creative art director.
I'm India Chambers. I'm a writer and an editor, and I'm the founder of Casual Readers Club. Casual Readers Club is a storytelling platform and an IRL reading community.
I'm Jake, and I'm also part of the Rise Collective.
I'm Aya, and I'm a strategy director and co-founder of Explorers Club. And I also ran a games night at in a space called Moko in the past 2 years.
So like to know like how you guys all got started, like in community, and like if play was something you realized at the start of like how critical it was to bring us more connected and closer, or was that something you discovered throughout, like I guess later on?
Um, my route was almost a natural happening where me and my friends set one day a week to meet up outside of parties and just talking nonsense, and that happened to be in a space where people were playing. They were playing chess, and then from that we saw. Well, I saw like a magic moment of like, yo, we're actually having a really good time getting to know each other beyond the surface level whilst playing chess. And then I was like, if I can take the DNA of whatever it is we have right now into a space which is purely for us, by us, and expand that to like-minded individuals. Yeah, we've got a really nice congregation of more play. So that was my route.
I think similarly, it kind of just became a thing. I wanted to read a bit more outside of uni. I loved my lectures, but sometimes the conversations got a bit dry, and I wanted to have kind of similar conversations with my friends or people that look like me. So forced my closest people to read alongside me and do a bit of a book club. But they didn't read the book often, so it ended up being me just kind of talking to them. But I started posting about it, and then other people were like, "Oh, I would really love to read alongside you." And then I guess it kind of just grew from there. So I guess thinking about kind of play and how that's kind of connected with my work, I just had like a playful approach to meeting up with my friends anyway. And then it's kind of expanded from that. Yeah, but I think I'm now more intentional about play. So similarly to as to Kojo, what Kojo was just saying, I also try to engage in other third spaces. I regularly go to like a bowling club, and like chess clubs, and try and lock in that way and create connections in those spaces and tell those people to also come to book club.
So in terms of how I got into community space, I've got to kind of give a shout out to a space that I think we all probably met at called On Road. And there was just like, it was like a research agency, and they had so many different people from different backgrounds all coming in there, like talking about their creative projects. So that really inspired me and helped me understand the importance of community. And in terms of just like what I do and what I've been doing, I think the main thing that inspired myself was thinking about childhood and thinking about like some of the games that I played as a kid from my kind of Nigerian background. And there's a specific game called Ayo. So playing that and thinking about ways to like express that in modern day, and thinking about how like people like myself could connect over that game that we all played in childhood. And then I think just the importance of community. I think the thing that's really, really important just moving forward with the community is like just finding like-minded individuals, but also trying to have conversations with people who are unlike-minded as well, and combining the two. I think it's really, really important in today's age where we're all looking at people's perspectives through comments and thinking about that in real life. And then just the last thing is we made a book last year called Play is the Highest Form of Research, where we asked lots of different people about play, and lots of different creatives. And I think that really inspired me, just in a sense of all of the different ways people think about play.
Following on from that, I was wondering if you have any tips for people to re-engage with their sense of play. Especially, I resonate with looking back to your childhood, and I guess how you can transfer that from like a childhood memory into something more tangible as an adult, and something that then you could bring out and connect with a wider community who also were obviously doing that as children as well, but have probably forgotten?
First of all, great question. That's a really good question. I like that question. I think, and we actually spoke about this on the panel. I think Kojo, you spoke about like bringing two worlds together. I think bring two worlds together. That's almost like the genesis of any great idea. So I would say what I would do is find something in your childhood, but connect it to something in your adulthood, and actually the two creates a thing that there's a bit of tension and there's a bit of a clash, but allows you to express elements of play that you're like comfortable in terms of adulthood. So that was what I'd say. Like, what's something you love in adult life and what's something you loved in childhood life, and combine them.
Just one more on that point. What are the difficulties in trying to bring something that you found joy and play in as a child, trying to bring that into adult life, which obviously has a lot more restrictions, and all of our defenses and conditioning? How do you then bring that into an adult world that doesn't necessarily facilitate or allow that easily?
Another really good question. I would say, and again, we all spoke about this in all different ways, but I think the word is vulnerability. I think it's important to like if you're creating that type of space, how can you well, it sounds so corny, but like, you know, that whole thing of be the change you want to see, like you got to do a little bit of that and like be vulnerable in space and allow other adults to like be vulnerable and connect to that inner child. And I'd say the other thing is like also try and convince other people to also express themselves in that way, and find other people who are doing it, and when they are doing it, celebrate them. I think that's a really, really important point. And yeah, the celebrating the vulnerability is so important.
For like both Kojo and India, what I heard from like your answers was more like just a real wanting to connect over something, and like that not being available to you, so you just go out and like create it, which I think is really, really cool. And it's probably like you fulfilling an unmet needs, and I feel like that really relates to the vulnerability as well, because to admit that and like seek others that are feeling the same and perhaps have the same interests is a really vulnerable thing to do. And I just was wondering, like, what kind of like messages or like self-talk do you find helps you be more vulnerable? Because I feel like a lot of it is reassuring yourself, and especially when you're in a leadership position and you're kind of trying to establish that for the community that you're starting, that's a lot of pressure. So like, how do you manage it, and what's been helpful?
I guess your question is almost like, how do we manage what we started it for and maintain that? And I guess, or I don't know about you, but our journey is not necessarily linear in CSCB, and I don't think any community's journey is linear. Like, you might have like a North Star end goal, however, there's ups and downs to get there if your North Star stays the same. And for me, in terms of managing that, it's very much ensuring like the DNA of what me and the man that me and my boys had when we were playing chess is retained in this new space. So on entry, every single person has to be greeted in the exact same way, with my full love, my full passion. When I'm teaching someone, my full attention again, and spreading that kind of vessel in the spiritual realm throughout the space, which is just, yeah, it shows the proofs in not even the pudding, like you on a bad day compared to you on a good day, and how the space is on either of those days. So yeah, I'd say when you're the quote unquote teacher or the leader, everyone would say, "Oh, teacher, say go, Joe." You have a big responsibility to make sure you retain that vibe.
I think you said something about vulnerability and like how do we have the courage to be vulnerable? I don't know. I feel like as I get older, being vulnerable is way easier. I think about when I think about general kind of rules for engaging in space. A lot of people say like showing up as your authentic self and like being your full person. And I feel like the only way to really be that is to be vulnerable. I feel like I've always been very, very happy to kind of say what I need, what my needs are, especially if my needs aren't being met. I feel like my parents really instilled that in me. And so being able to be honest about what I want from a space and what I'm hoping to bring to a space and the vulnerabilities that I feel like I definitely will say at book club if I'm feeling particularly anxious about an event or say for example we've got an author coming and I really rate them and it's going to be like a slightly more challenging discussion, I'm very honest with the people around me in the space that like I'm having a trickier day, or like I need my community to kind of show up for me a little bit in the same way that I do for them. So I feel like vulnerability is like the thing that I think everybody has to show up with. That's like the one rule that I would definitely encourage people to think about when engaging in community spaces, but also just with community more general. Like vulnerability is kind of the best conduit for anything that we kind of want, I think.
I think you guys are, I don't know what the word is, but like kind of the guiding stars in in terms of a society that does like to an extent require performance rather than vulnerability, because I feel like in a capitalist system vulnerability means and communication actually end up sometimes meaning less productivity, and so I guess you guys are living a slightly different but hopefully a more intentional life that hopefully more people will follow on from in choosing vulnerability. But I guess for a lot of people, and I guess I'm thinking, it's not exclusive to, but like as a man, I think a lot of the time it's like, why would you even want to go into those spaces in the first place? So I suppose why, other than, or do you think it sometimes takes hardship and being broken down to actually need that space and realize you need it? Or what do you think would draw more people to those spaces when they don't even realize that that's what they're missing, or that they need?
I think, I don't really know if this is going to answer your question, but I guess I'm thinking a lot about this. I understand the phrase that you brought up, of like be the change you want to see. But I think a lot of people like almost need to reflect on the fact that like they don't necessarily need to be the leader at the thing. I'm very happy to go and be an attendee at an event who is just like participating. Like I'm not really trying to come, even at book club, like because exactly, that's being the change. No, you're right, exactly, in a different way, but as in like I might be facilitating at the book club. There are people that come with way better points than I could ever imagine to come with, and like who really command the space in a really special way, and they're participating. They're not like, all right, cool, I've had a great book club discussion, now let me go set up my own thing. They're just so happy to kind of be in the space. So I think really a lot of people need to interrogate like, what do you want from these spaces? Like, what is your kind of like intention? Can I be a passenger is maybe not the right word, but can I be an attendee? Can I be in the space and contributing to it in a really positive way, rather than necessarily always needing to put yourself in a leadership position? I say as the leader of my book club, which is maybe a little bit, what's the word? Yeah, I don't know. But I think, yeah, engaging in spaces in whatever way feels good to you. Kind of lost my thread, but yeah, I stand on that.
And yeah, like on India's point, like one for me is like being the leader of whatever you have has a toll where you don't actually experience what you have in the way the participants that have, and like you no longer, where it may have been like, oh yeah, this is a nice third space for me, you now have a responsibility to make sure it's a safe space for everyone else. And then beyond that, it's like almost in that herd mentality of people who do come as participants to make sure they engage properly and they don't feel, it's almost like you're constantly prompting them and like just prompting people to like, no, like you can do XYZ, like just prompt. Otherwise people won't exist how they should necessarily in that space.
I would say to your point though about the vulnerability and how like it doesn't it might not have a benefit to it. That's the kind of thing that you're saying sometimes. I actually think vulnerability in today's society has a massive benefit to it. And I'll be honest, I think I'm not vulnerable enough. And I think the reason, and actually what I've seen anyway, even from lots of different vantage points, is like, even just take social media. When someone's vulnerable on social, like you're like drawn to that person, aren't you? You're actually more connected. They actually build like a deeper community around something through the vulnerability. So I think it's important for us to actually acknowledge, and not in a like super rational way, but it's important to acknowledge actually being vulnerable is probably one of the best things you can do in today's society. So yeah, how do we encourage more of it? obviously not so much that all I'm seeing is vulnerability on my timeline all the time, but I think it's important to recognize that actually vulnerability. How do you connect with a friend? It's be by being vulnerable, isn't it? So I think that's a big part.
Yeah, I suppose what I am hearing you say is that there is a massive benefit, but I guess I also meant like the benefit doesn't come at the advantage of the kind of systems that we often work in. It's much more like the benefit is for the collective and for like the internal life rather than the advance of like an external goal or measure or progress that's maybe like economically based rather than like social change.
I guess that's what I'm. But I feel like we're gonna go back and forth. But we're doing a back to back. But I think the thing that I think what I'm trying to say actually I think there is economic benefit to it. And what I'm trying to say with the economic benefit is, you think about anybody. How do you stand out in a system? By doing the thing that everybody else is not doing. And if everybody's not being vulnerable and you're the one that's vulnerable, you stand out. And often, who's the person who gets the opportunities? The person who stands out. So I think there's like the person or community, what company, the person who stands out. So I think that for me is where the economic benefit comes.
I wanted to know, because from a external perspective, it sounds like you guys live in a really good life, and the things that you once wished for, you've managed to create or find. So do you feel like you're living the dream, or is there more opportunities that you're seeking to create, or like where are you on that path?
I feel like the plot of the dream hasn't even started yet. Like we've just laid, I don't know, I've just got consciousness. And I'm yet to experience the world. Touch grass. So I think in my regard, my path of that dream, where I keep saying like I want to see a young grandmaster come through, whether it's my club or be inspired by my club, who doesn't have the same persona that your typical chess players have. Maybe that's a chess trait you have to have as a chess player, a bit odd. God bless them, man, they're amazing. So for me, I wouldn't say I'm living the dream. Like life's hard. Like word to Elijah, and Io says it too. But Rent is the creative director. Like bills are the creative director. So like we all suffer from that. So yeah, like life's not bliss yet, but hopefully one day, hey, God willing, we can all be blessed and live in abundance, but also give in abundance.
Brilliant. Thank you. I feel very grateful. I don't think that I'm definitely living the dream, but I feel like thinking about book club as a space where we're obviously talking about ideas. I feel like it's a really great space to like imagine utopias, and that's really important to me. Like talking about issues that are very like real, even just like small things, disagreements with friends or a character in a book that's acting nasty. Like I feel like just talking about why that isn't what we want for ourselves is like really amazing. It's become such a like dreamy space for me. Like I go in there and I like every time I come out like, oh my God, I feel so inspired. And so I definitely resonate with what Kojo was just saying, the sense that like we're not there yet and we're definitely just kind of laying the ground, learning consciousness, etc. But I really do see like the communities that I'm a part of and my own community as like, yeah, a dreamy kind of space where we're very much connected to the real world. I know a lot of people say that like reading is escapism, and in some ways it can be, but I find it to be like a space for me to really think about the things that I want and like work with people to kind of create those realities. So yeah, definitely working towards it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's first. I think your thing about the reading is so true. I feel like I read Girl, Woman, Other, and I understood my mum's in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny how like actually you're right there. Kind of, it's not escapism. I understood my reality more. But to answer your question, I think I don't want it to be like cheesy, but I think I'm trying to the dream. I think it's a great question, but I'm trying to like enjoy the dream as well as make sure I keep dreaming. Because sometimes there's always something we're chasing, isn't it? And it's like, and I get the thing, and it's like the next thing. Have I actually enjoyed the thing that I was trying to? And then sometimes it feels like the thing I always try and do is I think about my 17-year-old self and my 80-year-old self, And how can I do things that like I know my 17-year-old self would be like, oh, that's cool. Like even this, I'm like, my 17-year-old self would be like, that's sick. But how do I also do something that my 80-year-old self would be like, look back on and go, that was a good thing that you did. So thinking about two people at the same time. But yeah, it's important to like enjoy the moment, isn't it? It's a gift.
And I guess, although, you know, you're saying you kind of it hasn't even started yet, you know, and you're living for now. I suppose without looking at some kind of external goal you want to achieve, I suppose like what is it that you're following? Like what is it that you're following? Not even to get where you want to get to, because you might not even know yet, but what are you following? What is that?
I feel like it's just the ideas that I have and the discussions that I want to have and the things that I want to be my reality, like the comfortability to just be able to pull them off like with ease and in the way that like benefits the most amount of people, that gets the most amount of people in the door. Yeah, I feel like I'm guided by my morals and like things that I think are right and things that I think are cool. Similar to, I guess I'm not really thinking about a particular end goal. I'm very much just like, what is working for me now and how can I do more of that?
At the end of the day, like what I'm doing is providing a midweek reset for a lot of people to come through on weekly basis, and whether they're meeting someone new or they're coming for the first time, 20th time. Yeah. And so I guess I'm following that of making sure week in, week out, someone can say, whoa, what? Nah, this was amazing. And I feel like it's always a nice thing to know when you've tried your best to make everyone feel good. But then beyond that, it's like, cool, they're good now. How can I get them to be really good at chess? But it's all like stepping stones to get there.
Can I ask you two, what dreams? Obviously, Rise Collective, you're like up and coming journalists. What dreams do you have? What are you trying to work towards?
My dream is to kind of be an international aid worker and to start my own organization and to find a way to help people and provide opportunities so they can get to a point where they're not dependent on aid and they can start to give back to others and kind of help people develop and bring more opportunities and to tackle inequality. Yeah, that's really important to me.
I think, I don't know longer term, but I suppose as like an ongoing, I think probably it's just a life goal would be to just be gradually more and more expressive, more and more vulnerable, more and more open, and like heart-led, I guess. And then I guess like from that, just other people, not that I'm saying I do that or like I can do that on a daily basis, but it's still like an intention, I guess. And then from that, I guess I'd hope that other people would be receptive to that and then pick up on that and see that like I'm a safe person, or, you know, especially I think for me, maybe not always, but I think I'm particularly interested in that around men. Because often I think I probably don't feel as safe around, when I say safe, I don't mean like physically safe, but like present or just like around men than women. I find it a lot easier to connect with women often. And I suppose maybe, I mean, it's why I was quite excited about your talk, was because I actually would really like to get into holding spaces for young men, I think, and like specifically around play and just like and creation and things that make you cringe really bad, because I think like through the cringe and the corny and the cheesy, like you can actually get some gold in there if you're able to like just soften into it a little bit, which I suck at, but it's like it's also just an edge that I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, cringe is only cringe if you're allowed to.
Yeah,
It's not really cringe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to
That
take?
stuff.
I have one more question. I guess if you could listen to your, I don't know how old, listen to your child self, would anything come to mind that child would really like to, I say do or be, it doesn't have to be a profession, but just, is there anything that kind of springs to mind?
Mine is so basic, but I feel like when I was younger, I like had a very much like a performing arts background. So I used to think I wanted to be like a dancer and a singer and be on stage. And then one day, I think it was in like secondary school, I had like a real confidence knocker. Nothing specifically happened. I think just one day I was like, I don't want to talk in front of people. I don't want to sing in front of everyone. Everything is so embarrassing and cringe, and I feel really self aware. Self aware. Is that it? Yeah, I feel like overly self aware. And now I feel like I talk in front of people with confidence. So I feel like if I could, I don't know if you said go back and say something to you, but I think it would just be that like the things that you think are just going to shape your experience. I was like, okay, I'm never going to be able to be on stage. Like we've hosted through Casual Readers Club, we've hosted like some previews, film previews, and we sold out a 350 like cinema thing, and I had to do like an intro and like a whole conversation, and I was so nervous. And then I got up there and I was like, oh, this is so easy. Like actually, I can do this. This is like light work. So I think just like not allowing the things that you think are so important when you're younger to like define you, and still putting yourself out there. And I think I remember I used to hear people say like put yourself in uncomfortable positions and like do things outside of the box, and think like why would you ever want to do that? But genuinely like doing things that make you feel super nervous are so good for you, because you get up there and you're like, this is so fine. Or even if it's not fine, okay, cool, how can I make it fine next time? So yeah, I think that was what I would think about or say, or whatever the question was.
My younger self would I guess, yeah, my younger self would be a bunch of what people would have been telling my younger self, and my younger self would have been told us like, listen to your parents, or listen to the people who mean well for you.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think my younger self would tell me to keep listening to the people who mean well from you as much as you can. Trust your intuition. Like, yeah, guidance is everything, and having a guiding hand always helps.
Last thing out, just slow down. That's a big thing. Slow down. Enjoy it. Like, not everything has to be a rush. You know what I mean? Like, just take it. Obviously, get this what you need to get done. Yeah, but take your time as well.
I just want to thank you all for making time to speak with us today. We really appreciate it, and we know you're here just today as well, so it means a lot. Where can people keep up to date with what you do and any more musings? And I guess as we talked a lot about like just consciousness and like the experience of life and like what we're learning, like where can people get access to that side of you and like stay up to date with what you're doing?
Yeah. If you want to stay up to date with me, stay up to date with Chess Club. So you can find us at Chess Club, 2 C's at the start, 2 B's at the end. So Chess Club. But yeah, I guess we're all one vessel, so we're all one.
Yeah, you can find us at Casual Readers Club on Instagram, and I am India Indie Ins on Instagram as well.
And yeah, we're at Explorers Club studio, and so on Instagram, and then also Ayomikon, but AYOMKN on Instagram. And then you know what, I'm gonna be so real with you, I'll probably share more on LinkedIn. So if you want to find me on LinkedIn, that's where I'm sharing my thoughts.
Do you know what? Same, actually. Same.
Me, but I need to get there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you.